Why a lawsuit? Can you explain to people why this lawsuit is necessary?
Well, the lawsuit is necessary because the overall impact of this project, first of all, a lot of people forget, when the I-81 project was first evolved, and this was around 2006, 2007, as a result of a rethinking I-81 plan. What this plan did, it came about because some of us remember, with a lot of the crime that was happening, especially in the university area and some of the areas they own, they control or they own Madison Towers, Harrison Towers, some of those buildings. With some of that crime, they felt it was coming out of the public housing area. So what they did, Pioneer Homes has 5 entrances. At that time, this was in 2005, they decided to put mechanical arms blocking people off, corralling us in there. We fought that. They wound up taking that down. After that, that's when they established this group that came up and had this study. Now, what's interesting is, as a part of that group, it was Ben Walsh and Sharon Owens at that time, and several other people, but that was then. Now, of course, Ben is the mayor, Sharon Owens is deputy mayor. So what you have is these people who have this plan, and that's what it is. It was all about taking down I-81 and the viaduct and reconnecting the SUNY Hill with downtown. There's nothing in this plan, anything altruistic about saving African Americans or anything. So originally when this plan first came out, they got a lot of social outrage from the northern areas, Clay, Salina, DeWitt. All these areas built up economically upon 81. It was only when they faced that social backlash, and please, if there's any journalists out there, or you can do it yourself, look at the timeline. That's when they racialized it. That's when they decided, okay, now we're going to say that we're doing this project with this altruistic notion of saving African Americans and other people living in the shadow of I-81. We're going to save them from the overhead traffic, the toxins, pollutants, everything involved with that. But what they didn't say or tell anyone was they planned on redirecting all of that overhead traffic, toxins, carcinogens right back into the south side area of the most densely populated Black American census tracts, while at the same time redeveloping 2 of the most affluent census tracts bordering the viaduct that connect the Hill and also downtown. And also downtown.
What would you like to happen as a result of taking this legal action?
I'd like what I've always wanted, and that's to have an honest discussion, laying out the facts, laying out the problems involved in terms of social, economic, health, environmental problems. All the facts are there. The testing wasn't done. There were certain studies. There were polls that were taken. We need to sit down. We need to actually look at what they want done, which is okay. I've always said progress is good. If we have an opportunity to make Syracuse this artistic, cultural, technological hub, then that's a beautiful thing. But I also feel that progress should benefit everyone, not just a select few. So what we want is we want to have this opportunity where we can come and we can sit down. They want a grid. That's fine. No one has me on record ever saying, I do not want that grid. What I've always said is, and others, is it should be supplemented. Sure, parts of I-81 have outlived its structural life. The viaduct represents, ill, the historic wrong. My family, we had a funeral home. It was on the east side. When they put in 690 and I-81, we lost our funeral home and our property. That's what this represents right now. But functionally, it still has a use, and that's conveying traffic out of the area. So get rid of what we have right now that represents this ill. There's no reason it could not be replaced with something and have a compromise. Have the grid in some way of moving this out. A wonderful thing happened. The Harriet Tubman family, they came on board. We had this idea for the Harriet Tubman Freedom Memorial Bridge. It was going to be a wonderful bridge conveying this traffic, lit up, pointing right up to the North Star. This family was villainized. I was villainized. Anyone that came up with this plan was villainized. We had a party for the family matriarch, Miss Pauline Johnson, right in Wilson Park. It was a wonderful thing. She stood up, she was interviewed, she said it was her idea, it was a wonderful thing. At the end of the day, a newspaper reporter had the nerve to call her a liar. That's something that was wrong, and it never should have happened. Never should have happened.
Have you spoken with members of the Syracuse Common Council regarding these actions? And if not, why not?
Well, as far as the legal suit, no. No one on the city council has reached out to me, and of course, because it is a legal suit, legal action, there's only so much that I can talk about. Certain things are already public knowledge, yes, but once again, we all know each other, they're my friends. I respect all of them. I'd like to think likewise on my account. If they ever want to reach out, then I'm always here. But then you have to look at the past, the history of it. Who has really been vocal in this fight? And that's one of the issues. We'd like to see more politicians, other people that are active, that especially that have the experience of the past history of this, speaking out. But let's be realistic. Once again, these are friends of ours. We know them, we love them. I can't begrudge someone who is looking after their livelihood when their paycheck is being written by the city or the state or the county, and they feel that there might be some retribution if they speak out.
Okay. Okay. I know you mentioned something about gentrification and what's about to happen. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Oh, yes. Well, this has always been a gentrification project. If anyone would ever like to contact me, once again, it starts from the Rethinking I-81 plan, 2007. That's when the plan was, once again, to move 4,000 to 5,000 people out of Pioneer Homes, Central Village, all of that area, with no plan of housing or anything. They just want to give them vouchers. Then they have this plan, Blueprint 15, Syracuse Surge. We've already seen this massive explosion downtown. Everywhere you look, it's apartments and housing, and it's a wonderful thing. I just had a meeting with Marty Scan, some other people downtown. Marty is in the Onondaga County Economic Office, so we met there. I was already aware that they had apartments downtown where the rents were $3,000. He pointed out some apartments down there where they're $5,000. Now, we already have that. Then you have the Blueprint 15. Basically, they're talking about mixed use, market rents, and things like that. That's going to be gentrification. So my thing has always been, why does urban renewal always mean black removal? Now, SU, and this has been under the radar, not a lot of people know about it, last month they began this program. They have a map. It goes from Adam Street down to Brighton. I think it stretches over almost over to South Ave, but right along the Onondaga Creek. What they're doing is they are encouraging their professors, staff to come on the south side, which any of us that live here on the south side knows that they have always discouraged them from doing anything on the south side. But right now, and once again, it hasn't been publicized, they want them to come on the south side where we live, right next door to me and everyone else over here, and buy houses, buy land, buy property. And they will finance their mortgages 100%. And this is what we're doing right now. That is gentrification. That's going to drive up the property rates. Some of the homeowners here, once they were made aware of it, they're calling me, especially older people, on fixed incomes. What's going to happen to me? But this is what happens. SU sees this economic boom downtown. They see what's going to happen, merging those two census tracts right by the viaduct, moving everybody out of Pioneer Homes and all the housing. That property values, those are going to skyrocket. They're just looking ahead, as they've always done. They're going to come over here, and that's what it is. They're going to gentrify. These property taxes, or they're going to raise. The property value, that's going to raise. Once the property value is raised, that's going to make it harder to come on the south side or any place else and build affordable low-income housing. And that's what people seem to forget. The judge looks at the totality of everything, and this is why it is called gentrification. And those of us that have lived through this, we understand that.
Okay,